So I think this was the thing that made me want to do this show was I've always had the opinion, like if you want to accomplish whatever it is, whether it's investing, you want to be a great skier, you want to be whatever, right? Look at who the best person in the world is and don't just like study them, but like really kind of hone in on the books that those people say influence them or the people that influence them and then kind of study them. Because then you can kind of more inherently, understand what it is that drove them. So early on, like with like Buffett, like security analysis, The Intelligent Investor, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like there's these books that he has said have influenced him in a major way. So we started trying to read those. So the common thread, the first one that I would tell you is they're just absolute knowledge pigs on whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. So if their company is, creating shampoo, right? Then that person would study and become just the absolute expert on whatever that one thing is. And they're usually well-read way beyond that as well. So for us, we were like, okay, if these people are just knowledge pigs and readers, like for example, Buffett, and I know he's not real popular in the Bitcoin community, but for me,
he should be popular. He's a great investor.
He's a great investor. He's influenced me deeply in the way I kind of view things optically from how to invest. But I learned very early on, and this is a great example at one of his shareholders meetings, that a person asked a question to Warren. He said, how did you pick your predecessors, the people that are going to come and replace you? Like, what is the thing that you were looking at? And Warren's response was, they were the only two people we could find that read more than Charlie and myself. And so for him, like just reading as much as possible is, and you go to the shareholder meeting, he has his book list of 30 to 50 books that he read for that year. And then they're available there for people to purchase if they want to, read some of them. And he has like little notes on what the books were about, but just to kind of show you at his age, how many books he's reading. Now I want to get him a Bitcoin book because I kind of suspect he hasn't read one. But yeah, that's an enormous part of the success. And it's a common thread that you see almost on every one of them is they're just knowledge pigs.
Yeah. Do you think that they're reading for the sake of reading, or do you think that it's like a personal curiosity? So the
latter.
Okay. So like they say, hey, I want to learn about shampoo. Like you gave the example. Yeah. They then go and find as many books as they possibly can about the topic and go read that. It's not just, a friend told me this book was good, so I'm just going to read it without any kind of purpose behind it.
Yeah. So the focusing on who recommended it, and then how many books does that person who recommended it like I have a lot of people who be like, go read this book. It's really good. And like, I don't want to sound like a snob, but like in the back of my head, I'm thinking to myself, how many books does this person read a year? Because if they read one book in the last like 3 years, like
them telling me it's the best book ever,
then telling me that that's the book that I need to read, like I don't put too much credence in the recommendation. But like when somebody who's reading, like Jeff Booth's a perfect example. Like Jeff and I have become very close through doing the podcast and just talking. When Jeff Booth tells me to read a book, I know the filtering process that he has done is tremendous because he does about 50 books a year. And so I place a lot of weight in that. So that's something that I think a guy like Buffett and others, that when they are reading, they're optimizing how they're reading and what they're reading. And it's almost, that's not all, but a lot of them I find read more of the nonfiction. There's a few that are fiction, but for the most part, a lot of them are nonfiction readers. And that's what I am as well.
Yeah, same.